Hi everybody, welcome to this Canvas tutorial. In this tutorial we will be taking a look at and distinguishing the difference between Canvas assignments versus Canvas activities. So Canvas allows you to do a lot of different things, and some of these things kind of fall into a Canvas assignment bucket and some of them fall into a Canvas activities bucket. So if you look here, we're just gonna draw a line down here, and we're gonna focus first on Canvas assignments, what makes them assignments, what kind of characteristics they have. We can look at some different assignment details, and we're gonna hold off, and then we'll come back to and discuss Canvas activities. In fact, let's just cover up for now our Canvas activities and focus on our Canvas assignments. So like I said, you can kind of think of this, let's make this a little bucket here, right? This is like a bucket. Certain things fall into the Canvas assignments bucket. Traditional assignments. So anytime you have a task or tasks you're going to give your students with due dates and you're going to assign grades to them, it's pretty traditional. A lot of what teachers do is assignments. And so they have certain characteristics that we'll talk a little bit when we get through looking at each of these. Discussions. So you can have graded discussions and non-graded discussions. If it's a graded discussion, it's an assignment. There's points assigned to it, and there are due dates assigned to it. And graded discussions are useful when you want students discussing your content. And so there's an example being, say you're doing an experiment in a science class, you've described the experiment, you haven't done it yet, they're at that stage where they need to make a hypothesis. Maybe you create a graded discussion where they go and input their hypothesis, and then they can kind of look at what other people had to say. That might be a graded discussion, and maybe they respond to each other. You're having them respond to each other, but that's a graded discussion. Points, due dates makes it a graded discussion. Graded quizzes, pretty traditional. There's two types of quizzes in Canvas, which we'll get into later in the series: classical quizzes and new quizzes. But you guys know what a quiz is. A quiz is usually a series of questions with sort of objective answers. You can have open-ended questions as well, discussion prompts and so forth. Points are assigned and due dates assigned, and that's what makes it a Canvas assignment. There is an attendance feature. We're not going to really use this, so I'm not going to go in a lot of detail with the attendance. There's also a not graded. I know it seems kind of counterintuitive. Why would you have a not graded assignment? Well, if you want an assignment to not be worth points, but to show up on maybe extra credit or something like that. I don't know. Although there you would need an extra credit, you need a grade column anyway. But if you wanted it to show up on calendars, that's probably why you would use a not graded assignment. So if you look down here, you can see these are characteristics. These are some of the things that come along with it being an assignment. One of them is that it appears, these will all appear on the assignments page. So in Canvas, you can click a little button in your course menu, assignments, and all your assignments will show up. Graded discussions, graded quizzes, assignments, attendance, and not graded will all show up on that list. A new column will automatically appear in your gradebook. Canvas will take care of putting it in your gradebook, okay? Except for not graded, because clearly you don't need a grade for a not graded assignment, so that doesn't happen. But all four of those other Canvas assignment types will create a gradebook column. All of these can be, teachers can use rubrics to evaluate them, and all of them can be aligned to outcomes. So that's what sort of makes a Canvas assignment. I mean, those are some functions or features that kind of come along with it. If you look at the bottom, these deal specifically with the assignments, right? This bucket up here. And so you can see that there are different display options. You have all sorts of options for assignments. And these vary by assignment. So you can assign some to be points and some to be percentage. But whatever your system is, these are options for you. You can make an assignment complete or incomplete. They either get the points assigned or they don't get the points assigned. You can assign a letter grade if you set that up in your grade book or a GPA scale. There are different ways for students to submit assignments. So, what are they turning in? That's detailed here. So a no submission would be like you want them to go complete something maybe on another site or something like that, and you're just going to go check that site to see, hey, they did it or they didn't do it. That might be an example of a no submission type. You don't want them to turn anything in, but they have to go do something and you can check it. Online submission. This is going to be by far the most popular type of submission. because we're in a distance learning environment right now. So students can file upload, they can submit upload, they can take a file from their local machine and upload it. They can share a link with you to a document. They can put something in their Google Drive to submit it. There's a variety of different ways that they can submit things online. So very powerful tool. On paper, that's used mostly for face-to-face instruction. If you're going to be they're going to give you something on paper, you would just check that box on paper, and you're going to be grading it off of the paper and putting it in. Finally, there's external tool. External tool is this, there's some apps that you can integrate into Canvas where they can go and submit things, and depending on what app it is, that might be a way that they submit things. So for example, Flipgrid. If you have a Flipgrid integration, they can actually submit something through Flipgrid, and so you would choose that as their external tool. All right, finally, you've got with assignments, and again, this is just for the left bucket here. You could have specific assignments assigned to specific groups. So if you were using ability groups or interest groups or something, you might choose to differentiate what assignments go to which students. Canvas can handle that. You might assign some individualized assignments, like, hey, this person really needs some extra practice, and so you're going to assign extra practice to just a few individuals. You can do that. Due dates. You can also modify due dates, and you can modify when assignments are available, so you can give students kind of a window in order to do some things. All right, so that's all assignments. So let's switch over here and let's talk a little bit about Canvas activities. So I'm going to erase all of my writing here. Let's sort of do what we can to cover some of this up so that we can stay focused. Okay, so Canvas activities. These are some different, so again, this is a new bucket. There's different things that are in this bucket. And that would include announcements. Announcements are extremely important, but there's no grade attached to them. You post them and you want to get the word out typically you can actually schedule announcements in advance for reminders and those kinds of things, but they don't appear on the assignments page. They're not going to appear in the syllabus. They're not going to appear on the calendar. Announcements are very important means of communicating with your students and parents, but they're considered activities. Okay. Discussions. If you don't assign a grade to it, then it's in this bucket. So discussions are considered in this bucket. You might have a discussion board for troubleshooting, right? Where it's not you don't want them to necessarily discuss content. You might be wanting them to just communicate with you a little bit about the course, or give you feedback on the course, or about their learning, or something along those lines. And so you may choose not to assign points to a discussion. Then it would fall into the activities. Practice quizzes, great way to get students to review concepts. They're formative assessments, so there's no points assigned to it. You're just putting it out there for them to practice. And what's cool is you can kind of get information about how they're doing with the practice, so you kind of know whether they're ready for the summative assessment, and that would be the graded quiz, right? This is hugely important. A lot of educators get a bit confused about the difference between pages and assignments. Pages are for you to put content there for students. It could be readings, it could be videos to watch. It's about delivering some information and content. There's no points assigned to it. So if you're going to assign points to something, it needs to be an assignment. If you're just trying to convey information to your students, then that would be more suitable to go onto a page. Conferences, Canvas has some other things built in. Conferences, if you want to post something directly to the calendar that's not associated with a grade or anything like that, then calendar events allow you to post things onto your calendar. And then there is an e-portfolio system. So if you could explore that, that's a place for students to share their work and do some reflection on the work. So it's available for you. It's considered an activity, but it's really more of a grow, reflect, and share kind of thing. You're not assigning points, therefore it falls into that activities bucket. So these things generally only appear on corresponding pages. Okay, so announcements will show up on announcements, and discussions only show up in discussions. So you kind of have to, go looking for those. They're not going to pop up on the assignments page, the syllabus page, and they're not going to show up on the calendar with the exception of your calendar events there. No columns, of course, are put into the grade book because there's no grades, and they cannot be evaluated with rubrics or aligned to outcomes. So just a different kind of thing. Hopefully that helped you distinguish between assignments, Canvas assignments, and Canvas activities. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.